Welcome back in to another episode of the TPT podcast. Guys, we are back after a little bit of a break. We're back with some offseason talk as a lot of moves are going to be made here in the next couple of days as it's March. So that means free agency, and that means the draft is right around the corner. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. Of course, as with me as always, Zach. Zach, what's happening?
Not much, brother. Just got back from the gym. Did not get buckets tonight, but you know what I'm saying? We moved.
All good. Hey, some nights you're gonna, get buckets, and other nights, you gotta, just be kind of an all around guy. You just you gotta contribute to the team.
Yep.
Yeah. But as we talk about contributing to the team, is the Chiefs look to build in three-peat right here, and this is the time you do it. March. This is when you bring in new guys. This is when you look ahead to the draft. Some interesting moves that kind of are being taken place around the league. We're going to get into not just the Chiefs, but some other things around the league that could happen that could end up affecting the Chiefs where they play against, what quarterbacks are going up against in their own division. To kind of start out with one of the big ones, with the Chiefs' opponent was Denver. The Denver Broncos releasing Russell Wilson. Well, they haven't officially yet, but they will on the 12th, the start of the new league year, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to release Russell Wilson. What was your first initial thoughts as the Denver Broncos have gotten rid of Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, it's not unexpected. I think we heard like during the season there was already like rumors that he was going to be released even before they benched him. And from their perspective, I mean, they don't see them doing anything with him. Sean Payton obviously isn't a fan of him just by the fact that they only tried 1 year despite that huge contract and all that dead money. And so honestly, just from our perspective as a Chiefs fan, the Russell Wilson tenure in Denver couldn't have gone any better for us. Right. I mean, play terrible 1 year. Then 1 year he does get a W against us and breaks their streak. But then he gets cut $80-something million in dead cap, which is huge. I mean, right. In the next 2 years, the Broncos are probably they're going to draft a quarterback, okay, but they're not really in the position to get one of those elite prospects. And they have all this dead money. They don't have many picks because of the trade, so they don't have much young talent. And so they're really looking like they're going to be a dumpster fire the next 2 years, the way I see it. Because even if you can say Russ underperformed, which he did relative to his contract and what he did in Seattle, but last year, that team without Russ probably wins 3-4 games because he had like a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. He was playing a little bit more like Seattle Russ. And so from my point of view, I mean, that's the best it could have possibly went for us.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. This is awesome because I remember the days where it was like what's happening to Denver and Oakland, or what's happening to Denver and Vegas and the Chargers, like that used to be us, like where we were just like, oh my God, like, okay, like we brought in Matt Castle, paid him all this money. He ended up not living up to what we thought he would be. It's like you're having these teams where they're just a dumpster fire of an organization happen to like our other AFC rivals, and it's awesome. It's awesome to just be like, now they have to go, and they're probably going to have to draft a QB because everyone's like, oh, did they go get this guy? No, they can't go afford and pay another top-notch quarterback. They're not going to go get Kirk or Fields or somebody else and have to pay them. They're going to have to get a rookie and have to have a cheaper quarterback on the roster. So now Steve Spagnuolo gets to play against a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
That's awesome. And that's good. So that makes me happy where we got to play against another rookie quarterback. And those rookie quarterbacks is either going to probably be between Michael Penix, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy.
Yes. I really hope they pick one of the two latter ones, either JJ or Bo Nix, preferably Bo Nix. I mean, he's old. He's kind of a high floor guy, but I'm cool if my rivals have a high floor. Like Michael Penix is intriguing because he has incredible accuracy. So and he's older too. Him and Bo Nix are both, I think, like already 24, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's good from a standpoint of whoever they get is very likely not going to be a guy that can get them over that hump. Now, if they were drafting 1 or 2 and they could get Daniels, May, or Caleb Williams, I wouldn't be happy with this whole situation because they're getting an elite guy. that a guy that could potentially be elite. But they might just be stuck in purgatory.
Yeah.
Because mid first round quarterbacks don't pan out more often than they do.
Right. Yeah, because you. So right now, I mean, Denver, they're kind of giving that second wave of the good quarterbacks unless they trade up. So that's what I said. This is a perfect situation for Kansas City. Obviously, you have Oakland or Vegas too. What are they going to do? They're more likely a team that goes after Russell Wilson, because they have the cheap quarterback on the roster. So they're more of a team that can go after Russell Wilson or go after Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins. I think they're going to go after one of those three guys instead of a rookie quarterback. But still, that, again, right there is still somewhere where you have where they're kind of just in kind of limbo too. Obviously, the Chargers, they're trying to, get some of their cap situation handled and some of their players that have been super expensive for them that are older. And now you're bringing a guy like Hardball. So Hardball's got a lot cut out for him in LA. A lot of the guys they paid 2 years ago just have not panned out. So that's there for them. What are some moves where you see around the league where, you see some of these high-notch players going? A guy like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, where do you see those type of names going?
Teams that have young quarterbacks or aren't investing in their quarterback. Teams like the Bears, where they're gonna sign someone probably. They're gonna draft Caleb Williams. Duh.
Right.
But so they have a cheap quarterback. Same thing with the Houston Texans on a rookie contract. Those are the two teams that probably are in the best shape to currently make a big splash because they have their quarterback and they have cap room. They're not worried about losing games anymore. They're done with that. They're going to get their guy. And so just like during the season last year, Montez Sweat, they made a trade for him and signed him to a big contract. I see Saquon going to a team. I've seen him going to Houston a lot, which makes sense because Houston, they don't really have a standout running back. They have Pierce and Singletary, but that could really elevate them. And then, don't forget, everyone's talking about Saquon, but I see Derrick Henry as if you're trying to win right now, he is the better back. That's how I see it because how he performed even last year with Tennessee being a dumpster fire on offense, he still was able to produce behind that terrible O-line. And so I see Derrick Henry as the more intriguing piece, but I see everyone's talking about Saquon.
Right. Yeah, Saquon's a little younger than Derrick Henry, so there's that aspect of it. More in the receiving game, so there's a lot of teams that like that. But yeah, Derrick Henry still a 1,000-yard back last year with the Titans. And again, I think those guys are going to go to teams where they kind of have that younger quarterback and they're able to win. Obviously, Derrick Henry he's been on the Titans and they've had some success, but I think these guys want to go on a team where they really have a chance to go win. Especially a guy like Josh Jacobs, he is fed up in Vegas. So I see him, he's gone. I don't see him coming back or wanting to re-sign with Vegas. So I think he's going to want to go to a team that is looking for a running back. If that's Dallas, if that is Baltimore, whatever team, because there's some teams out there that need a running back. And then they're in win now mode. So he could go to any one of those teams right there, and he would be immediate fit. But yeah, then you had a guy like Mike Evans. This was a big talk with a lot of Chiefs fans because a lot of Chiefs fans believed, we're going to get Mike Evans. We're going to get Mike Evans. I never thought we had a shot at getting Mike Evans just because the money aspect of it. He was able to re-sign with the Bucks. What do you think the Chiefs are going to kind of look to now at the receiver position? What are some of the names that have stuck out to you?
I said it last show. I think Darnell Mooney could be an under the radar guy that we try to get. The thing about the Chiefs is we've already shown. That's why I don't understand the speculation surrounding Mike Evans, is because we traded the best receiver in the league because we didn't want to pay him $30 million a year. And so why would we ever sign a guy like Mike Evans to 22, 23, $24 million a year, especially when he's 31 years old? And so the other guys that are available, like Michael Pittman's one, they're really good receivers, but we've shown that that's not how we build our teams. We don't need to do that. We won 2 Super Bowls since changing the formula. And so there's no reason to change it. I feel like we're going to draft a guy and we'll sign a guy like Darnell Mooney. Maybe he can stretch the field a little bit. And I'm really looking at those draft prospects because one thing we saw at the draft is that this receiver class is legit. Last year, I mean, I'm glad we ended up getting Rice, but if you look at the first round receivers, there wasn't one taken until about like the 21st pick. I think Smith and Jigma went first,
Mhm.
and then I think
Addison,
it's all
maybe.
Addison, Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, and Quentin Johnson all went like 4 in a row,
Mhm.
and that was about it for that, at least based on first round grades. And then it was a huge drop off to the next guys, and that's why we didn't take a receiver last year, even though we need a receiver just as much as we do now. And so I'm looking at the guys like Lad McConkey that could potentially fall just because of the overall quality of the class. Maybe like an AD Mitchell who bought out the combine, but he kind of got overshadowed by his teammate Xavier. And
Yeah,
so
Xavier Worthy.
yeah, and so I want those two guys I just named. I want Lad McConkey, I want AD Mitchell, and then I want us to sign a guy that's reliable, sort of like a Juju type signing that we had 2 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of the route of where they got to go receiver. A Tyler Boyd, like you said, a Darnell Mooney, maybe a Hollywood Brown, something like that. You'll still have Rice. And I think that's the way they're going to go. I think they're going to bring in one or two of the guys we just named. Because think about it, you can bring in two of those guys on one guy for 15 mil, another guy for 10 mil or whatever. Gabe Davis is out there. You can bring those guys in for shorter deals than bringing in just one guy. You can bring in two of those guys in, and now you have a stacked wide receiver core instead of just you trying to sign a bigger name receiver like a Mike Evans who's 31, 32 years old, and you're stuck with that until you say, hey, let's just bring in a Curtis Samuel or a Gabe Davis. And then we have, these 3 or 4 receivers that can go out and get open for Mahomes while we can still maybe look into the draft and, have a Xavier Worthy or Mitchell or, one of these receivers out there. And I really do like the 2 Texas receivers, as much as I hate to say it as an OU fan, but
Yep.
they're good. They're good. There's the receivers out there in this draft are really, really good. So I think the Chiefs have an opportunity to sign a guy, which I think they will. If that's Gabe Davis or Tyler Boyd, whoever it may be, they're going to draft a receiver too. So then you're really looking at a receiving core that could go from just kind of to one of the better receiving cores in the league with Rice, one of the rookie receivers, say a Gabe Davis, and you have Tyreek Hill, or excuse me, you have Travis Kelce, and some of the other guys. You're going to have Kadarius Toney, Justin Ross. Those guys will kind of fill out the receiver position. But that's kind of the scary thing the other teams got to really be scared of is you're going to have the same team on defense, but you also have an opportunity. The Chiefs have a better offense as well. So that's where I think that if they can just kind of go get one of these mid-level receivers, they don't have to go get Michael Pittman. I mean, if you get a Michael Pittman, I mean, oh my God, this team could low-key go undefeated if they get a guy like Michael Pittman. But I think they're going to get a mid-level guy, and that's an improvement. As much as people may say, oh, they only got this guy, or they may only got a Hollywood Brown or whatever. That's still an improvement. That is your receiver core improved, period, from last year. When you have Watson, who was one of your go-to deep threats, if they go get a guy like Xavier Worthy who can stretch the field for Patrick Mahomes, because he has not had that the last 2 seasons, and he's won a Super Bowl in the last 2 seasons, how much more even dangerous they would be on offense.
Yeah, and I don't think people are understating how set we would be if we hit on a first round receiver, or
Right.
even if we now I'm sure we're going to talk about the Sneed tagging and if we're going to trade him, but if we were to trade him and get like an early second round pick and even hit on that, like we would be set because we have Rashee Rice. He was a second round pick, so we have him for another 3 years, and then this guy would be a 4+1 deal. That's 3 years and 4 years and 5 years of having 2 star receivers. If we just hit on this one pick, and then we're
Right.
set. We're back reloaded. We're back to 2018.
Yeah. And that's where like you segued it perfectly into our next kind of topic is L'Jarius Sneed. So there's 2 things. I want to keep Sneed, of course, because let's be real. Right now, right as we speak, he's the best corner in the NFL, period. I know we got people like, oh, but what about Ramsey? What about Surtain? No. He had the best season. Maybe not overall, but right now, the best corner who's played the best football is L'Jarius Sneed, period. He went up against the best receivers amongst all other corners, week after week after week after week. And it wasn't like, okay, yeah, he played good, but he was guarding their number 2. No, he played number 1 after number 1 after number 1 after number 1. Gave up 0 touchdowns on, what was it, 300 something pass plays. So it's like, again, he played the best ball this season. So of course I want him back. But the draft capital they could get for Sneed, I'm thinking they could get 2 and multiple later round picks, or maybe multiple 2s for a guy like L'Jarius Sneed the way he's played. If not, they'll keep him this season. But yeah, I mean, there's the only way I see him getting traded if a team would have to overcompensate for him. That's the only way the Chiefs are going to let him go.
Yeah, the way Brett Veach has showed that he operates when it comes to trading players is, if a deal is good enough, he'll take it. Like, he does not care who you are on the team. He will, as long as you're not Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, he will take it. And there's 31 teams, about 31 of them want a player like Sneed on their team. About 20 of them have the facilities to do that. They have the cap mobility to do that. Maybe like 15 of them. Mm-hmm. And again, like when we talk about Houston or Chicago, a team like that really could jump on Sneed, especially Chicago. And I love Sneed so much. I love Sneed. So I would rather keep him. I would rather keep him. But if we are able to get like a high second round pick, maybe from like Arizona, you got to take that. That's another 4 years at like $7-8 million a year rather than having to pay a guy 20 plus.
Yeah, and again, you would still have Trent McDuffie, you still have Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson. Those guys played well, really good football as well. So again, your secondary, may have a little bit of a drop off, but you're still going to have those top tier guys. I mean, Trent McDuffie in the Super Bowl was absolutely phenomenal. You want to talk about who played the best in that Super Bowl as a corner? It had to be probably Trent McDuffie. So again, you still have Trent McDuffie. Who, the funny thing is, Trent McDuffie was the only one I think that made a Pro Bowl or an All Pro, and
he was All Pro first team, slot receiver or slot corner.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing. Sneed made 0 Pro Bowls or All Pros, but McDuffie did, which doesn't make much sense. But again, I think it's a win-win situation in that aspect. The one that I'm curious now is Chris Jones, because Chris Jones. Oh, we lost Zach. We'll probably be back in a moment. But guys, Chris Jones. They weren't able to franchise tag him because obviously you can only franchise tag one person. You can only franchise tag one person per off season. So this is where it gets interesting. What are they going to do with Chris Jones? Are they going to, bring him back? What does his contract look like? Because I don't think the Chiefs are going to sit there and give him $30 million a year. I don't. Zach will be back in a moment, guys. Zach will be back in a moment. Yeah, we should see him back here in a moment. Even though we're getting ready to wrap up here in a second.
Yo. I can't hear you again. Okay.
Right.
Sorry about that. I don't know.
We're still good. We're still live. We're still good. It's where we're back. No, guys, we're just talking. So back to, kind of Chris Jones and where we kind of left off is, what are they going to do now with a guy like Chris Jones? This wanted to be one of the last things I talk about before we kind of wrap it up. What do the Kansas City Chiefs do with Chris Jones? What, Zach, would you be willing to give Chris Jones that he's back in Kansas City?
I'd be willing to give him top money like he wants, but it's going to have to be a shorter term thing than he probably wants. It's probably going to have to be two,
Two. Yeah.
two, 2+1, maybe. I mean, but I guess if it's 2+1, we really have the choice. He's not going to do 1+1. He's not going to do 1+1. Two. I'd say two.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, that's
wouldn't.
where I'm at. I'm at give him good guaranteed money, but make it short term. Make it a short term deal. If you have to give him 2 for 25, 25, that's over $50 million for 2 years. I'm right there. You make that you make the first year more guaranteed than the second. I'm right there. I don't think he probably wants a shorter term deal. He probably wants a 3 to 4 year deal. I think they got to go shorter. Even though, again, yeah, he was tied with sacks on the team with George Karlaftis. I think George Karlaftis is going to be your future guy. But there's other guys you do got to bring back. Again, if you want to bring back Sneed long term, what does that look like? He's a little bit younger. Do you bring him back long term? So I think you give Chris Jones a shorter deal. And I love Chris Jones. I think he's a focal point of this defense, but you got to give him a shorter deal.
Yeah, I mean, we've shown that we're doing whatever we can do to prolong our greatness. Make sure that every Mahomes team, every team we ever have with Patrick Mahomes has a good amount of talent, and we're not handicapping ourselves in any way. We're not going to risk giving him a Joey Bosa contract where it's a 4-year deal, and then by year 3 or 4, he basically is unplayable, which I would never assume that happens to Chris Jones. He's one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time at this point. But you never know. In age in football, getting old in football don't mix well together for most players. It normally is a pretty dramatic drop-off. I mean, you see players all the time. You've seen Chandler Jones. You've seen cornerbacks. You've seen every type of player just hit a wall, and it's like, oh, he's not the same. And so anything to minimize the potential for a Broncos-type situation where it's just money that's sitting there that's not doing anything. We need every dollar that we can have to spend money on players to be worth what we're paying. And so a short deal, give him a lot of money, but a short deal.
Yeah, and again, if he wants a long-term deal where it's a lot of money, you kind of do have to let him walk, because then that leaves you better opportunity of being able to re-sign a lot of your guys next year, including Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey. There's going to be a lot of guys that are free agents. Trey McDuffie's going to be a free agent here before we know it. Some of these guys are going to be free agents before we know it. So, yeah, like getting them extended will factor into what we pay some of these guys now. So, yeah, and again, it'll also factor in some of the weapons Mahomes can have, because again, we can't have another season we had last year where we're just kind of scraping by offensively. No, go get Mahomes weapons. Make it easier on Mahomes. Go get him weapons. Go get him guys to throw to. If you got to sign a couple of receivers to bring in, go get him some guys you can do. Literally anybody, just guys. Literally guys who can just get open. Because, let's not forget, large part of the season, we just did not have guys that could literally just catch the ball. So as long as they can have guys that can go open. Obviously, they got rid of MVS as the last time we talked. They got rid of. So, yeah, there's some spots that need to get filled. We're going to talk about more of those spots, what need to get filled. What are they going to do at the backup quarterback position? Are they going to stick with Blaine Gabbert? Are they, maybe going to draft one of these quarterbacks in the later rounds, kind of develop them, and then trade them eventually? There's some moves like that they could make. But yeah, there's also things in the draft they need to address as we get closer and closer and closer to the NFL offseason. Of course, guys, make sure you guys go follow us on all social media. TPT Podcast on Instagram. Make sure you follow us as well on TikTok. Yeah, we're going to be back next week. Guys, I know we were live to you here on a Tuesday. Some of the dates may change as just availability as we're available. But yeah, we typically like to go live on a Friday night. But yeah, we'll get you guys like a more of an official date on when we're going to go live more. But Zach, any last words as we approach closer and closer into NFL free agency and the NFL draft?
Honestly, I just can't wait for the draft. Like, free agency is cool, you know what I'm saying? I just
Mhm.
want to sit there and hear da na 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 da 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 da.
Right.
That's what I'm waiting for. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. Yeah, draft is around the corner, guys. That's how me and Zach met, was at the draft last year. So it's exciting. It's exciting time for the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. Don't forget your team is the Super Bowl champ. So next time you see someone wearing NFL gear, talk your trash, talk your ish. We are the Super Bowl champions. The Chiefs look to three-peat this offseason and build that another championship team. We will see you guys next time on the TBT podcast.